Hello everyone, I wanted a video on music production on a budget, and this is a real budget. So I know there's loads of cool stuff out now, like the new Macs were announced last night. They look fantastic, and the stuff you can buy now is great, but sort of to counter that, over the summer, because I meant to do this video ages ago and didn't get around to it, but about 3 months ago I bought a Dell PC on eBay for £200 UK, so it's £200 with £7 shipping. It was an old i7, so a 6th generation, well it actually says up here, it was a 6th generation i7 computer with 8 gig of RAM, so 8 gigabytes of RAM, and a 250 gig SSD hard drive. The only thing, I've literally plugged it in, it came with Windows 10 installed. All I've done is put the necessary software on here and added an extra hard drive. Now the only reason I've done that was because it was out my old tower. I literally pulled it out of the old tower and stuck it in here. It noticed it automatically, and away we go. And then I've put the drivers for this old Line 6 tone port, which I'm running it through now. The reason for me doing that as well is because you can pick up old interfaces on eBay from, well, this tone port you can get from sort of £50 to £80 on eBay as well. If you get a scaled back version of Cubase, I think you could get the PC, excluding the monitor though, sorry about that, so excluding the monitor, I'd say you could get a scaled back version, say Cubase LE, or even cheaper than that, get AI that comes with an interface, a tower computer. If you've got a monitor, that's great, but you might have to pick a cheap monitor up. I think you could do it all under £300 UK, and you would have something that you could record an album with. There's nothing stopping you recording an album. I think this could be quite a good project for me to see what I can do with this setup now. Okay, so I thought what we could do, load Cubase, which I think I've got it load, a blank project there. Let's stick some audio tracks on it. So I'm going to go to my right zone. I'm going to just drag in an audio track, so a vocal sample that comes with Cubase. The only thing I am going to do is press F3, and I'm going to turn down my master channel, because what we're going to do with this is see how many tracks of audio we can run, and perhaps a few VST instruments, on a computer that I got for £200 on eBay. And I can show you actually what it's like. This one's 270 here, but this is how it looks, mine. I shopped around a bit, and also I didn't go for 16 gig of RAM, which I perhaps should have done. I went for 8 gig, which is probably why mine was slightly cheaper then as well. So that's what it looks like though. It's just sitting under my desk at the moment. Okay, so I'm going to Control D that. So we've got a vocal line. I'm going to click on the E, and let's start adding a few inserts in here. So I know delay uses a bit of processor power, so let's use a stereo delay. I'll just turn the mix down so it doesn't get too, and the feedback, so it doesn't get too messy as we start duplicating these tracks. I'm going to use, what else could we use? Reverbs. They do use a lot of processor power, so perhaps not even the stock, well, they are they're stock reverbs you get with Cubase, but not the Roomworks, which probably uses less processor. Let's use a couple of reverbs, but ones that use a fair bit of processor power. And then should we stick an EQ on here as well, frequency, so it's having to think about things as well. And that's just sorry, let's just make a couple of EQ changes so it's actually, see, it's doing something. Okay, so we've got on my channel now, my vocal channel, I've got a stereo reverb, a stereo delay, 2 reverbs, which aren't the scale back one. These are the big reverbs that come with Cubase, and frequency. So I can click on my performance up here in Cubase, and it can tell us our average performance, max, and then the disc. So that's a lot of reverb. It's going to sound quite weird here. So all I'm going to do now is right click on this, and I'm going to duplicate that track. So that's doubled it. And then by pressing Shift, I can highlight these two. And then right click, sorry. It's a bit laggy then. I think maybe I'm streaming as recording to OBS as well. and I'll duplicate those. It shouldn't affect the processor power too much. And as you can see here, now we've got 4 tracks, and here's our average performance at the top here. I will highlight that again in a minute. So now let's just make these smaller. Sorry, I pressed Z to make them smaller just so we can get more on the page. Now I'm going to duplicate those 4. So now I've got 8 separate tracks with 4 inserts on each track, and each one of those tracks has those 2 heavy duty reverbs on there. Now we've got 8 going. Oh yeah, 8 going. The reason it's going to be 10 because of my inputs and outputs here. Okay, so we're still okay. Now perhaps by highlighting the first track and the last track with shift down, I can then duplicate all of those again. So now we're looking at, we've got 16 tracks of audio running now. So already, if you're limited to it as far as a budget goes, 16 tracks of audio is great with effects. Oh, we did get a slight, with Cubase, you can actually see we get a slight dropout there, but I think that was probably just because when I hit the spacebar to start it at the start, we haven't got a noticeable dropout, so it's still absolutely fine to record with. We're not going to... Okay, so should we... Maybe if we do another, say, 4 tracks of audio, and then maybe let's have a look at going into the instruments, get a few VST instruments going as well, and just see how it looks then on our... Okay, when I press start, it sort of freaks it out slightly, but we're still fine, absolutely fine. No audible dropouts. I could quite happily set an acoustic guitar up or something else and start recording along to that. There's no audio, and there's no problem with the audio at all with that. Okay, so now how about we go to VST Instruments and we chuck in a groove agent. So this is our drum instrument that comes with Cubase, and again I think all versions of Cubase will come with this. So even their cheapest version, the AI, which comes with if you buy an audio interface from say Steinberg, it should come with this. Okay, I'm loading up whatever preset that was. So I've got some sort of drum. We can't hear it because I've turned the channel down, but we're going to duplicate it so we can. And then I'm just going to go to patterns. There we go, and load him up. We've got it. So, and again, I'll just duplicate that across to make it track length. Okay, and then perhaps if we duplicate that. So now we've got 2 instances of Groove Agent with all of those audio tracks, and again our performance isn't too bad. It's telling me it has at some point peaked, but I honestly think that I haven't with my headphones noticed anything audibly drop out. I think it's basically when I press play after it's sat idle for a second or two. Okay, so we've got 2 drums. Maybe let's double that. Let's go for 4. We'll go for 4 instances of Groove Agent. So at least the drums are louder now. So we're starting to see this ramp up a bit now, our average and maximum ramp up again. Disk, still not a problem at all. Modern hard drives are wicked. Okay, let's add in Halion Sonic, and then let's go for let's just it doesn't matter, does it, but a warm piano and pad, something that will use a bit of power. Okay, and I'll tell you what else I'm going to add in. Using my lower zone, I'm going to add in some chords. I didn't look at the key to what the key of the vocal sample. I don't know if I explained as well. The sample actually from this right zone was actually from Cubase as well, but you could get your sample from anywhere. Okay, I'll duplicate that. The chords are going to sound ridiculous against it, but that doesn't matter. It's not the reason for doing this. Okay, so we've got 1 instance of Halion Sonic, so let's now duplicate that. And then perhaps I'm going to take those 2 and duplicate those. So our track count is starting to ramp up. and you can see our performance. I wish I'd looked at the key. I could have, oh, it's there, isn't it? C minor. Oh well, too late for that, don't worry. I can mute these out, it doesn't matter too much. In fact, I can bring them down in volume if necessary. Not that it doesn't matter for this at all. How about now we double all of those? So duplicate those. So now we're looking at, I know it says 30 up here, but it's 28 tracks because of my input and output channel, I think, here. So, and again, we've got no issue at all with dropping in and out. So let's do something a bit crazy. Let's take another chunk of them and then duplicate those. I think all I'm trying to show you here is probably, although I've never done this before, I knew it was a capable machine, just how capable. It's a tower that was never designed for audio production. It was designed to be under an office desk somewhere. It's not a particularly fancy looking computer. It's just, oh, we did get some sort of it maxed out slightly there, but it's generally when it was the disk cache when I press stop. And again, that's not going to give you any sort of audio dropout that you could still easily record with that. So if we just recap on what we've got each channel, or each track should I say, has got 4 insert effects, 2 of them being relatively high processor power. In fact, if we looked at one of these, maybe if we bring up the levels and the tail and stuff like that, so pre-delay, I don't know if it on some of them, but you know, it just gives you an indication of where we are with modern PCs. Okay, the average performance is starting to perhaps move slightly higher, but maybe let's try another load. I'm going to do another. I'll duplicate those. So we're in the realms now. I think we're looking at 47 tracks. And all that time, sorry, I can take loop off as well. I haven't had a noticeable audio dropout. And even if I did, as long as it didn't appear when I was actually recording, it's fine. It didn't, as long as my input signal is fine when I record, say, a guitar. But okay, so just as a last try, I'm just going to duplicate a load more. And it really wasn't, you know, now when we're getting into this track count, you could have quite a comprehensive mix, a really cool mix going with all of these tracks without a shadow of a doubt. That's cool. I don't know if it's done it. Has it done it? I don't know if I did the right. Oh, it's done it. Sorry, it's thinking about it. Ah, okay. Okay, it's not happy now. It's not happy. So perhaps if I Control Z that and get rid of some of those, we can do that. Okay, but maybe let me try another 4. The other thing you can do, which I haven't mentioned actually, is also increase your buffer size. Whatever software you're using, I can't show you now because I'm using Voice Meter because I'm doing the video, and Cubase, it's all recording to OBS. But on your interface, whatever interface you use, if you go to Studio and Studio Setup, you've got your you'd have your interface here, your ASIO driver or ASIO driver, and if you go down to whatever you're using and then your control panel, mine obviously won't work because I'm using Voice Meter to record now, but you can increase your latency, so your what they call the buffer size, and that will mean the computer doesn't have to stress quite so hard to get all of that information in and out to you that quickly. It sort of has a bit more time to think, so that's another way of increasing it. Sorry, I don't know if that worked. Okay, we're all right. Okay, we got it's saying it, we got dropouts there, but that was when we started and stopped. Sorry, you'll be sick of this. Absolutely sick of that sample by the end of this. So anyway, to cut a long story short, I've just done another 3. We're looking at this kind of track count up here, and it's perfectly workable. And again, increasing your buffer size can do a lot to sort of help with that. Voice Meter is not really designed as an ASIO driver to. It's more designed for what I'm doing now, streaming to OBS. But I'm sure it'd be even more stable if I was using the correct ASIO drivers up there in Studio. Okay, I hope that gives you an idea of what you can do with a budget machine. It really is a budget machine, and I could see no reason you couldn't do a really comprehensive project with it. Okay, good luck.